I'm 84 years old, and I almost died alone on my bathroom floor because I believed something dangerously stupid for far too long. I believed independence meant never needing help. That belief nearly killed me. My name is Henry. I'm 84 years old, and 3 years ago, at exactly 6:15 on a freezing winter morning, I stepped out of the shower. My right foot slipped sideways on the wet tile, and my head slammed hard against the sink. I still remember the sound it made, sharp, hollow, final. For a few seconds, I honestly thought, this is how it ends. I tried to stand up immediately. My legs failed underneath me. My phone was charging in the bedroom, maybe 20 feet away. But at 84 years old, injured, dizzy, half-conscious, 20 feet might as well be another country, I remember staring at the ceiling while cold water dripped from the shower behind me, thinking something terrifying. If I die here, nobody will know until this afternoon. That thought changes a person forever, because suddenly you realize something painful. Living alone safely after 80 is not about confidence, it is about preparation. Pride sounds noble until you are bleeding on the floor with nobody coming. I stayed there for nearly 5 hours, 5 hours listening to pipes creak, water drip, and the clock ticking in the hallway while panic slowly replaced shock. At one point, I actually tried dragging myself toward the bedroom using my elbows. I made it maybe 3 feet before collapsing again. Then something happened that still gives me chills. My neighbor Tom noticed my blinds were still closed long after sunrise. That never happened. He walked across the street, knocked twice, then used the emergency key I had once given him years earlier and completely forgotten about. When paramedics arrived, one of them looked at me quietly. He said something I still hear in my head sometimes at night. Another few hours, and this story ends differently. Sometimes survival depends on one person noticing something small. Before we go further, if you live alone after 60 or someone you love does like this video, please, because one small decision today could quietly save a life later. When I came home from the hospital, I noticed something even more painful than the fall itself. My daughter started looking at me differently, not cruelly, not dramatically, quietly. She looked at the stairs too long, the rugs, the shower, the kitchen floor. Every object in my house suddenly became dangerous in her eyes. And I realized something terrifying. One fall does not just hurt your body. It changes how your family sees your future. After 80, people stop looking for memories in your home. They start looking for risks. That fear stayed with me. I moved slower. I stopped showering comfortably. Every staircase felt steeper. Every night felt longer. Every small pain made me wonder if something worse was beginning. Fear grows fast in silence. So the very first thing I built after that day was what I now call my silent safety system. No expensive technology, no cameras watching me. Every single morning before 8:30, I place a blue coffee mug on the front porch railing while opening my curtains. My neighbor Tom drinks coffee at the exact same time every day across the street. If that mug is not there by 9, he checks on me. 5 seconds of effort, possibly years of independence protected. And if you live alone right now, ask yourself this honestly. If you fell tonight, who would know? Not eventually, not tomorrow morning. Tonight. Independence after 80 survives through systems, not luck. The second lesson hurt my pride deeply because it forced me to admit something I never wanted to admit. My memory could no longer carry everything by itself anymore. When my wife Eleanor was alive, we quietly protected each other every day without even noticing it. She reminded me about medications. I reminded her about appointments. We were each other's backup system. Then suddenly it was only me. And within months I started forgetting frightening little things. Taking pills twice, forgetting meals, leaving lights on, reheating the same coffee 3 different times because I forgot I had already made one. One afternoon, I stood frozen in my kitchen, staring at a blood pressure bottle, unable to remember if I had already taken it. That moment scared me more than the fall, because confusion feels completely different when nobody else is there to notice it with you. One brain alone carries a heavier load than people realize, so I bought a simple notebook. Every morning I write the date, medications taken, meals eaten, appointments, bills, things to remember. Simple, quiet, practical, and strangely comforting. Smart people create backups before disaster forces them to. And if this video already feels familiar to you, please like the video and subscribe, because the next few minutes may help you avoid the exact mistake that almost ended my life. The third lesson nearly broke my heart before it saved it. About 8 months after Ella Lanner died, my son asked me something during dinner that completely stopped me. "Dad, when was the last time you bought something just because it made you happy?" I laughed awkwardly because I honestly could not answer him. After losing my wife, I had quietly stopped living and started only surviving. Every dollar became practical: bills, repairs, prescriptions, groceries, savings. No joy, no beauty, no pleasure, just maintenance. Then one morning, I bought expensive bakery bread and fresh coffee beans for the first time in years. I sat outside holding that warm mug with both hands while snow fell softly across the yard, and suddenly I started crying. Not because of the coffee, because for the first time in years I felt human again instead of simply old. Survival is not the same thing as living. Then came the lesson that may have protected my life more than anything else. I created a bright red emergency folder taped inside my kitchen cabinet. Medications, allergies, doctors, emergency contacts, medical history, instructions if I cannot speak. Because here is the brutal truth about aging alone. If your voice disappears, your preparation becomes your voice. A year later, paramedics found that folder in under 30 seconds after another accident involving dizziness and chest pain. One medic looked at me afterward and quietly said, "Sir, this saved us time. Time matters during emergencies. Preparation protects dignity when panic takes control. But the hardest thing for me to accept was the medical alert watch. I hated it immediately. I told myself it was for weak people, for old people, for people who had already surrendered their independence. Then one evening, I lost balance carrying laundry upstairs. I hit the hallway wall hard enough to collapse onto the carpet and realized my phone was downstairs again. I remember lying there furious at myself, furious because pride had once again left me helpless. That watch stayed unopened in a drawer for 6 months. I put it on the next morning and never removed it again. And strangely, wearing it did not make me feel older. It made me feel safer. Real independence means planning your own rescue before somebody else has to rescue you. Then I redesigned my kitchen around the body I actually have now, instead of the body I still imagined I had at 50. Heavy pans moved upward. Everyday dishes moved to chest height. I bought an electric can opener because my hands no longer grip properly. I placed a chair near the counter so I could sit while cooking instead of pretending my back was still young. And suddenly, daily life stopped exhausting me. Your house should support your age, not challenge your pride. But maybe the hardest lesson of all required brutal honesty. When you live alone, nobody is watching closely enough to tell you when something feels wrong. You must become that person for yourself. I ignored dizziness for months, ignored chest tightness, ignored exhaustion, told myself it was normal aging. It was not. One issue was medication interaction. Another was severe anxiety after my fall. Pretending everything is fine is not strength after 80. It is gambling with your own future. So now I ask for help early. I call doctors sooner. I ask neighbors for help before situations become dangerous. I ask my grandson to change light bulbs instead of climbing ladders pretending I am still 45 years old. And here is what shocked me most. None of those things reduced my dignity. They protected it because I am still here, still sleeping in my own bed, still making my own coffee every morning, still living in my own home on my own terms. Not because I am stronger than other people my age, but because I stopped confusing pride with independence. Pride isolates, preparation protects. Every single morning now I open my curtains, place that blue mug outside, pour my coffee, and sit quietly for 10 minutes before the day begins. And every morning I feel the same thing. Gratitude, deep gratitude for Tom across the street, for my notebook, for my emergency folder, for the watch I once refused to wear, for the systems that protect me when my body cannot. So if you live alone, remember this carefully. You are not weak for preparing. You are wise. Because the people who stay independent longest are not the people pretending nothing can happen to them. They are the people quietly preparing before something does. Now, if this video resonated with you, subscribe now, please, because the next video may help you avoid another painful mistake many older people only understand when it is already too late. I'm Henry, and I'll see you in the next.